You are listening to the Innovating Cannabis Podcast, where you will meet entrepreneurs, cultivators, scientists, doctors, and inventors in the cannabis industry.
Welcome. I'm your host, Pam Schmiel. How many cannabis companies do you know that have been around for 22 years and are still thriving? Today we meet BigMike, founder and CEO of Advanced Nutrients. His story begins in California, where in his 20s he started cultivating. But at the time, the big fertilizer companies were too afraid to develop products specifically for the cannabis industry. But BigMike knew that what worked for tomatoes and cucumbers didn't work for cannabis. Determined, he assembled a team of top plant scientists to develop the world's most advanced cannabis nutrients, an approach that remains the backbone of the company's success today. Now sold in over 120 countries, Advanced Nutrients continues to expand globally, making major inroads in Europe and beyond as legislation spreads. In this episode, BigMike shares insights into their groundbreaking polyploid genetics, the emerging global opportunities, and what's next for the future of the cannabis industry. Let's welcome BigMike to the show.
Your company's been around for over 25, 26 years.
26, going on 20, yeah, we're 26 years, going on 27 pretty soon.
Okay.
I can't believe it. So many years.
Opening question is, how and why did you start Advanced Nutrients, and where is it today, from that beginning to where you are today?
Wow. So I started growing when I was 23 years old. That was 42 years ago. And there was no fertilizer specifically for cannabis. I would talk to growers and I go, do you think this stuff is for cannabis? They go, we don't know. We wonder the same thing. There was this big question mark. So I said, you know what, this industry must have a fertilizer specifically for cannabis that we do scientific work on. And so we did that. We realized that there was a gap in our industry that needed to be filled. And so we needed to talk truthfully about the plant, not use tomatoes or cucumbers or peppers or any of that other stuff. We wanted to talk about cannabis, and we did from the very beginning. We weren't shy about it. And a lot of people tried to shut us down then.
And why? Because they didn't think that there were like different variances in the way you do these different things?
They wanted to shut us down because we're talking about cannabis, and they were afraid to talk about cannabis. So one of the things that I realized that I had to do is, if we were going to use them as a distribution point, they would, number one, hold us back. They would have to dictate to us what we had to do. So we said, you know what, we're going to do our own distribution. So slowly we opened up different distribution points in America, Canada, and in Europe. And now also Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So how many countries are you in total now?
About 122 countries we're in. Countries that I don't even know how the hell it got in there, but it's there, which is cool.
That is so cool. Wow, that's amazing. And then I also wanted to hear about your research arm. I've read that you have dozens of PhD level scientists, and I'm just wondering what they're all working on and where are they?
Sure. We have scientists in Europe, and we have scientists in Colorado. We have scientists in Canada. And we don't have 20, 24, 25 like we did. We decreased the number, but they're superstars in what they do. And the future of cannabis has never been so exciting for us. We're launching our 8th gen products at MJ Biz, and it's a platform of different products that have never touched the cannabis industry before. So we're really excited about it. And it produces more terpenes, it produces more cannabinoids, everything gives you more weight, better quality.
So
to use.
So this new iteration that you're launching at MJ Biz, is that it just all coming from all your scientists and new discoveries?
These guys stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning almost every day reading papers. That's what they just that's the only way. That's how we built our 7th gen. You have to devour all these scientific studies that were done, and some stuff works on cannabis and some stuff doesn't. And so it's a trials and tribulations. And this particular platform, we hit one home run after the next home run after the next home run. It will definitely change the face of how cannabis is growing because of the results. And when you marry it to our genetics, because we have triploids, and one of the problems with triploids is they become hermaphroditic. Ours do not. They're very, very stable. And the guys who are growing with it, they're getting about more than 2 pounds extra per light because it has 3 chromosomes instead of 2. We also make tetraploids, and we're in the process of doing octaploids. But back to these triploids. One guy that we gave it to was getting 2.5 pounds a light. With the triploids, he was getting 4.5. Another guy we gave it to was getting about 3.7 to 3.8 pounds per light. Now they're getting they got 5.88. So it's going to be a huge game changer. And you can also take cuttings off of triploids. They're also pollen immune. So if you go into outdoors and you're growing and some guy's got hemp or some other thing, these triploids are pollen immune. They can't be bred with diploids. Normal plants called a diploid.
Okay, so it can't come from another plant.
Yeah. So, by the way, we have a whole program. We have a full-time salesperson out now. They're getting ready to go out and launch. So we're going to be talking to a lot of the cutting houses to get our triploids in there and do licensing deals. Also, we have tetraploids. So if you have a tetraploid, that's 4 chromosomes. A tetraploid will breed with a diploid and give you a triploid. So if you have a cutting house, and we can license also our tetraploids to you. It's a really innovative program that hasn't been attempted or put out by our industry. But then we like to be first at a lot of things that we do.
So what is a cutting house like, just for those?
Oh, yeah, people get cuttings to the plant they either use seeds or they use cuttings. And what they do is they'll germinate a bunch of seeds, and they have something called pheno hunting. And so they might take 100 plants, 1,000 plants, 10,000 plants, and figure out which is the best version of all those plants. They'll put them into flowering, but then you also have to take cuttings and you have to have them put aside so you can match the number and go, okay, this is the superior plant. We're going to use this as the mother plant to make a bunch of cuttings from.
So you then provide them
genetics, superior genetics, and superior formulation of products to grow those genetics with.
Okay. I didn't know you were in the genetics business as well.
Oh yeah. Tesoro Genetics, we acquired them probably 5 years ago.
Okay, because there's also like the some people in the industry will say it's better to grow with clones versus seeds.
Sure.
Is that
But seeds are actually have more vigor to them. Seeds always are the most powerful. My belief, and the belief of a few other people in this industry, is the future of cannabis will not be cuttings. It's going to be seeds. Seeds are called double haploids. They reproduce identical. If you look at all those cornfields and the corn looks all the same, the soybeans, same thing with cannabis. So you have different strains that should be able to grow, and
then why are
extremely uniform.
Then why do people go for the clones or the cuttings?
Because no one's done a double haploid yet. That's why we're working on it already. So yeah.
Okay. And how do there's also some concern from some old time growers that fast flowering or fast cultivating is not good for our industry because it doesn't give the cultivator to really work that cultivar and to get it to express where it could be, because obviously people need to turn over their the grows.
I can understand how a lot of the old timers will feel that way, but the reality of is the marketplace decides. We can say certain things and we can offer our opinion, but at the end of the day, the marketplace is our boss. They're the king. And what do they want? People want the path of least resistance. So if they can get a plant that can flower faster, that doesn't take so long, and you got to worry about weather, you got to worry about thieves, you got to, if you're a traditional grower, about the cops. So it's how you're growing. What if you're at a high latitude, let's say 54 degrees or 56 degrees? You're only going to be able to grow plants that are fast flowering plants or auto flowering. So I say, by having those available, you open up a bigger net, so to speak, so that more people can grow cannabis where they live, because we have these technologies that we can do. So if someone's way up north at a higher latitude or down south at a lower latitude, they'll still be able to grow cannabis. I think everyone around the world should be able to grow cannabis outdoors, no matter where they're at, except Siberia or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's your view on indoor versus outdoor? You know, that's another topic of conversation.
No, listen, a lot of guys like indoor gets a lot more. The guys are growing some outdoor stuff that looks like indoor. In the future, you'll be able to go and look at the genome of a plant and you'll be able to make it go any way that you want. So if you want outdoor plants to be purple with pink buds and to have not as much leaf on it like an outdoor plant, you can grow an outdoor plant that will look like an indoor plant. You won't be able to tell the difference. That is probably about 8 years away because cannabis is a very sophisticated genome. And there's a lot of variations, and a plant really wants to morph and do things to make different kind of cannabinoids to protect itself and to also, to breed with another plant. So we have one scientist who's what's called a molecular miner, and so they literally moving things around at the microscopic level, and they're manipulating the DNA of the plant. Like that's the only way to put it. You use chemicals to make a cut in the plant, and you have to know where the cut. This is the hard part. Figuring out where the cut is that you have to make, and then you splice in this chemical, and it puts into that gene sequence what you're looking for. It's no longer conventional breeding. It's morphed into like every other crop. 90% of the crops that we eat today have been gene edited. And you're going to see the same thing in cannabis. Just people aren't going to talk about it. But for us to be able to get it like tetraploid and triploids, you have to manipulate at a molecular level the plant's genetics.
Right. And right, you have to. And if you want to advance the production and the quality, it's like designer cannabis. But I think that's the future, especially for medicine, because we need to get the different cannabinoids that we want, and as much, and as in the in the concentration that we want and all that kind of stuff. Once they start identifying what cannabinoid or terpene affects a specific indication,
right.
It's and then what about in the research, are they looking at different cannabinoids? I mean, is that something that you look at also, like for the reason I was saying, or terpenes?
Yeah, cannabinoids are very important, and so are terpenes right now. So one of the things that we're able to do is raise the terpene production of the plant. And by the way, the triploids, had close to 6% terpenes. So you have more cannabinoids and more terpenes as well developing.
Right, because I think I've heard the average is like 3 to 4%.
2.5. I see a lot of 2.5 to 3. Once you start getting to 4 or 5%, they're doing really, really well.
Okay, so more like 2.5.
I've seen 6% too coming off of certain strains with advanced nutrients.
Wow, that's amazing. And then as far as there's been a lot of talk about these new like low concentration molecules in the like the esters and right,
sulfurs,
sulfurs, all that kind of stuff that we're kind of really talking about now.
Right.
But I guess they're so hard to identify because they're so low concentration. What's your thought on this whole conversation? And should we be focusing
on? One of the things that we found is that the membrane of the glandular trichome matters. So we make sure that the plant is producing a thicker membrane on the glandular trichome head. Our competitors don't do that. And what happens is when you have a thin membrane, it leaks those volatile cannabinoids and terpenes and esters, flavonoids. It will leak out of the plant very, very quick. Even a bigger problem is it won't hold its nose. After 2 or 3 weeks, it loses its nose. Well, at Advanced Nutrients, we did the research. We said, okay, what do we got to do to have a more symmetrical head and to make sure that the membrane is thick? So we figured out how to do that. And if you look at our competitors, you'll see like flat spots and misshapen glandular trichomes, where ours are really just nicely formed. And when you look into the actual glandular trichome head, you can see the terpene developments and all the chemicals being developed. You look at our competitors, you can't see it at all. It looks flat. It's just kind of pale white, where ours is just like a rainbow of colors, and they're fully developed. There's no flat spots on the head, and the membrane of that glandular trichome is thicker than everybody else's. So it holds all those things in for a longer period of time, much longer.
Oh, so yeah, that's really the key, I guess. I mean, once it leaves your hand at the cultivator's hands, and
Yeah,
then
that's it.
hopefully preserving it all along.
We,
And
we, we try to protect the cultivator from themselves and make them look like superstars. They're the kings. We
yeah,
work for them.
And so what is it then in your in advanced nutrients that is the key here? Like what do you I mean, you're
It's
not going to give it
it
away,
yeah,
but
no. I'm going to tell you a
okay.
lot of stuff.
Okay.
A lot of that has to do with the micronutrients and chelation technology. Micronutrients are so critical to cannabis, and a lot of companies I see overlook that. We don't cut any corners. We never have. It's very, very important that those micronutrients are in the right order. I want to speak about iron. Most people don't realize that cannabis uses iron almost as like it's a secondary nutrient. Iron is important in every function of the cannabis plant. And so it's not just iron, it's what form of iron and how much you're giving it. And so we figured that out too. One of our guys who also is I told you does the molecular mining, got his doctoral thesis on iron. He's probably one of the world's experts on iron. We know that cannabis uses a lot of iron, so we wanted to make sure we got that right. And so that's part of it. The other part is our biostimulants. Our biostimulants, like Bud Factor X, actually thicken the membrane of the plant, as well as our number one seller, which is Big Bud. So the two do that together. And the micronutrients are right in our mix and at the right ratios at the right time.
At the right time, yeah.
Yeah.
So are there, I mean, it makes sense to me that cannabis would need, specific nutrients as opposed
Yeah.
to like cabbage or whatever. Are there other, do you have competitors out there who have followed you after this? Or I would think so, right? Because
Everyone compares their nutrient to us. They don't compare it to other people. So we're used to it. It's
they're trying.
people take their shots at us all the time. But the really cool thing is most of the head cultivators in all these licensed facilities, they grew with advanced nutrients at one time in their life. And yeah, our products used to be a lot more expensive, but during COVID, we made some good money. We took that money and we invested in production infrastructure. So now we have economies of scale that we never had before, and we've been able to lower our price because of that. And now we're extremely competitive. In fact, most cases, our per gallon price is less than our competitors. And it's the best product in the world.
Right, because you're now producing at such scale.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's great. And then as far as this is another topic I feel like is the next step in the industry, what we need to be talking about is the last mile in preservation for cannabis
Yeah.
that we're not really paying attention to. And I'm trying to get like data, talk to labs and things like that because of course, you go up to extraction. Everybody's, making sure everything's in temperature and
Sure.
and
Yeah.
all that. But once it leaves the hands and goes into warehouse distribution into retail, how do you what do you think about that and where we
Well,
should be doing?
yeah. Like I'm surprised where we haven't seen refrigerated deliveries coming to dispensaries, and dispensaries having refrigerated showcases, or where they keep at least, they can show it there and then they can take the actual product out of the freezer. That would help. You'd have to pack it in ice. You'd have to do the whole thing. So it's how far do you really want to take it? Nitrogen packing helps. It stops the oxidative process from happening by taking out all the oxygen. So there's no oxidative reaction happening. And so nitrogen does a good job of preserving things as well as temperature. So a lot of these guys preserve it. They're doing a great job. They're in these rooms where they gotta wear like a snowmobile suit to go in there and trim. They're doing the extra thing. But as you said, what happens when it's delivered to the end user or the dispensary?
And that 2.5% of terpenes has to be gone.
It
That
goes straight again back to the membrane. That thicker membrane holds in smell. So one of the things that people love with advanced nutrients is we don't lose our nose after a couple of months. It still has great shelf life. So that membrane in that glandular trichome head is extremely important.
could help. That's
Yeah.
that's because we need any help to keep it at
Yeah.
that measly little percentage that it's at, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess the same would also be for those low concentration.
And then you're gonna eventually see that those kind of things like terpenes, they already do extractions and stuff, and you'll have all these other volatile compounds extracted. We'll be able to reintroduce them. There's a gentleman that I interviewed for Inside Cultivation that has a machine that really infuses terpenes right into the bud. Before, people would spray on terpenes and there'd be little black spots on the leaves and it goes away very quick. This goes with a lot of pressure and then a vacuum and draws it straight into the leaf material, and you can't tell. So flavor is a big, flavor is a big deal with smokers.
Well, that sounds like a cool but
Technology, yeah.
Yeah, technology to infuse terpenes, because that's part of the entourage effect also. So, you know.
And so people are purists, go, oh, I don't want to add anything. I don't like those machines. Again, it's the marketplace demands it.
Right. And again, if we're going to, create products that are intended to help a certain, indication, we're going to need all that.
You need consistent product.
You need consistent product. And then, so another thing I've been hearing in the industry, but I think this is really old, but I've heard it and I think it sounds kind of interesting, is blending, different.
Oh, listen, when I first started, I had a brand called BigMike's Blends. And what I would do is I would take 2 to 4 to 5 different strains and blend them together. Why? Because you have huge cannabinoid and terpene profiles that you can't get otherwise. And so a lot of times you get used to the certain strain you're smoking by making a larger cannabinoid profile and terpene profile. You don't get that. You don't get used to it as often. It gives you a lot longer, of a time to enjoy it before you start getting used to it. And you got to switch strains. So it's
right. Oh yeah, right.
It reduces strain swapping.
But also, I just like kind of fortifying.
Well, what we did is we steered the terpenes to different outcomes. So what kind of effect do you want to feel? So I'm glad more and more people are doing that, because that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to start seeing they're going to start tuning plants and profiles to what people's ailments are.
Right.
What kind of outcome?
I agree. I think that's kind of the future. Yeah, I think the blending thing seems kind of cool. I mean, like a good idea.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess maybe you already mentioned this, but have you seen any preservation packaging technology?
There's a company, I think it's Grove, that makes something called Turplock. So
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, that's good. And then there's also freeze drying. I've seen some people who have got great, cryo. They use cryovacs, and they just take all the moisture to a certain level out. And I've smoked cannabis that was processed that way. It was great. It really, the terpenes on there is incredible. So there are technologies out there. It's probably one of the biggest areas of opportunity right now in our industry. I mean, there's got people who are making auto burping, things. There's a whole group of folks trying to figure this out. And like anything else, over time they'll make progress. So they already are.
Right. Yeah, people are. Yeah, I haven't heard. I'd heard of the cryo technique. A few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, people were talking about it. Then it kind of, I feel like I haven't really heard about it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I think
the company's called CryoPure. I
yeah,
believe,
something.
They're, I don't know what happened. I mean, they're still there. It's, you got your purists, and then, there's technology, adoption of technology. And so that's a great technology. And I think you'll see more and more of it over time.
But looking back at the industry, the cultivators, like where they were then, and like, how do you think do you think we're all going in a good direction? Do you just like, just let's maybe just stay within the United States, but like, how happy are you with what everybody's doing out there, how the industry's growing as far as cultivation and stuff?
I would like to see, obviously, interstate commerce and be able to ship all around the world. There's a reason why I came to California, and California is the best, strongest brands in the world come out of California. And as soon as they allow interstate commerce to happen, you're going to see California do extremely well, and globally as well. Look, this industry has a long way to grow. This is a $1 trillion industry, and it's going to keep growing over the next 15, 20 years. We're literally at the tip of the iceberg. When the big money has not come into cannabis yet, because it's Schedule 1. When it goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which I believe will happen in the first part or second part of 2026, as we get closer to the midterm elections, they'll pull that out. Why? Because the Democrats had the cannabis vote in their hands, and they did nothing with it. And so now the Republicans have come and have stolen their thunder, and they hold it in their hand. And Trump's not this is why I believe it will actually go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, because Trump knows when he takes away the cannabis and that Gen Z vote from the Democrats, just the very fact that he's taking votes away from the Democratic Party, I believe is a strong indicator that he will probably go forward with cannabis. And our hope is he first goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. We'll open up banking and a bunch of other things and capital markets. And then from there, Trump is pro medical cannabis. So I'd like to see that happen in 2028. He would probably do that to get the hold that Gen Z vote, the millennials.
Right. Yeah, and get our medical research going, get all that research going. This is what my favorite subject is, the internet.
What?
My favorite subject is the international markets.
Oh, sure. Let's talk about that.
I've been covering that, and I just love, just see what's going on over there. So I guess the question is, so you're in 122 countries, you've been in there for a while, but now what are you doing now on the international scene?
We ship to the Middle East. Middle East I see is the biggest opportunity. They have the money, the resources to do it well. Morocco is the first one that kind of opened the door. And as soon as Morocco opened, we've heard that yes, Saudi Arabia is interested in that, UAE is interested in it. It's all going to happen. In fact, we have made shipments already to Saudi Arabia, to UAE. So yeah, you'd be surprised where our nutrients end up. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, we ship there already.
So do they have any sort of programs going on, like official government?
They had a show there in Dubai that we were at. It was a vertical farming show. And so people knew we were cannabis people, but we didn't advertise cannabis. So, but a lot of people came up and talked to us. We have people who wanted to open up manufacturing facilities with us there in the Middle East. It's going to be a very, very exciting opportunity to see what's going to happen there.
And what's that terroir like there? What will they bring if they're cultivating and exporting? That's what they want to do.
They're going to have to do greenhouses, and they can grow outdoors, but they're going to have to use a lot of shade cloth and swamp coolers and these kind of things in there. But I've seen facilities in the desert. It's a little bit tougher go. You'll see indoor and greenhouse is what you're going to see, especially because it's medical, and so you want to have more control over that plant. So everything what I've been talking about is all going to be medical in the Middle East. There's going to be no rec.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I don't
think eventually there will be, but they're opening up with medical.
Right. And wait, and some of the best hash in the world, wasn't that way back when?
Morocco, it still is.
Yeah, Morocco. What am I talking about?
Beldia. So I was 2 years ago. I was in the Reef Valley, and so they have Beldia, and Beldia follows the family lineage, like their ancestors grew the plant, 500 years ago. So they don't mess with that. All the other stuff is called Romeo, and that can be any strain. And but the thing is, these guys are growing their Beldia, and next to them they're growing some Romeo, and so it's kind of being washed out, right? But still, it's a cultural thing with them. When you go up in the mountains, the higher altitude produces the better hash, and they sell it for more when it comes from a higher elevation. I was fortunate enough to be in a place that was a high elevation. I was in a town called Katana, and I did it with the thing with the sticks and beating it all, and I round up my own hash, and wow, it just had quite a punch to it. It was like something else. Yeah.
That would be amazing. That would be so amazing. So okay, so they all want to get into it. That's kind of, I did hear of somebody else going to Pakistan. Yeah, maybe I guess that's just
Well,
opening.
they approached me 7 years ago for a hemp pilot program. And I wasn't interested in it, and so they're still pushing hemp a little bit, but they're getting ready. Looks like to do some medical marijuana. A lot of these folks are going to medical. Even India's looking at it.
Yeah, you haven't really heard the governments talking about or announcing that
When
yet.
when it goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, you're going to hear the whole world talking about it. It changes overnight. The landscape of our industry is going to change because the big guys are going to come in there, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for guys who want to exit. They're going to get a huge multiple
Mm,
because there's going to be another bubble. I call it a mini bubble. When it goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, then after that, things will get normalized.
right. You mean where people get eaten up or yeah, get
Yeah, consolidated, or they
consolidated.
sell, or they decide to go out of business, and
And
only the strong survive.
And are you doing any like partnerships as far as like going into these different countries? I'm kind of seeing this like a lot of people from
Yeah.
OG California who are
So
going
when
there with their team
yeah,
and helping to educate. Like what is the education difference between what we know here or in California and what they know there as far as like what you're talking about, the cannabinoids and all the stuff you're
day
introducing?
and night, day and night. They're not even in Germany. They're not even making pre-rolls or gummies yet. And so there's a whole learning curve that Europe's going to go through. We're 5 to 7 years ahead of them, and
So
it is what it is.
right. And how about as far as growing and cultivation practices and
Yeah, they're way behind, way behind. Now that being said, there are commercial facilities, and they're doing very well, especially the ones that are in advanced nutrients. Portugal, H. Paratus was not doing so well, and so let us come and let us help you. So we turned the place around for them, didn't charge them extra, just buy our nutrients, and now they have the most successful brand in all of Portugal, and it was doing very, very well selling into Germany. But then some things have happened, but there's going to be a correction. Everyone was kind of using Portugal as a way station from all over the world to push product into Germany, and they cut that off. So
right.
that's what's
Oh,
going on
oh,
there. Yeah,
oh, is
but
that
no, it's yeah. We love going in and helping people and showing them. We see a lot of the facilities that go into Europe. They're not they're not at the top level where they could be. So we get them there though, very, very quickly.
right? And then I heard, yeah, right, the product coming from Canada. I mean, I don't know. You've heard that they don't preserve their cannabis in temperature controlled.
No, they don't. They don't. And so it's not the best cannabis in the world. However, a lot of them are getting better at growing cannabis as the years have gone by, that they're learning. And by the way, the black market still produces the best cannabis in the world right now. It is a traditional market. The best growers, some of the best cannabis I've seen, the guys are getting 2,000 a pound still for 2,500 they're getting. It's through the traditional market. It's not in
You
the
mean
mass,
every
the big facilities. But we're trying to teach them. We can go into a facility and we can show them how to grow world-class bud. And the ones who listen to us do extremely well. They make more money than our competitors will make for them.
right? You've got to have the people who have done it and have the product.
Yeah, our ACT team. What's really cool is, a lot of the head cultivators all over the world grew with advanced nutrients. Well, we have our ACT team members, and that's our advanced commercial team. They're the superstars in our industry, and they all wanted to come work for advanced nutrients. I was like, okay, that's good. I enjoy it. Why? Well, what I found out is they all grew with advanced nutrients and made a lot of money with advanced nutrients, and so they want to go back on advanced nutrients. And so they all came in, and we have the best commercial team in the world, and we offer our services for no charge. Come in there if you want to build a facility from the ground up. We'll show you how to do it the right way. There's guys, probably well over 100 facilities have been built by the guys who are on our ACT team from ground up. And so there's a lot of mistakes that people will make. They'll go to like Priva or some of these other bigger companies, and they're a great company and they make great products, but when it comes to their fertigation part of the system, they don't understand cannabis. And I can't tell you how many Priva systems that we've been in and had to turn them around and get them on the right track and get them going and producing better quality. But
Can
the
you
way
just
that they set the grows up isn't really conducive to cannabis growing. I should say the fertigation part, the greenhouse part, the light depth, all that's state of the art. It's like the Rolls Royce you talk about Priva. but there's their fertigation system. They don't understand how to grow cannabis.
You mean,
And
so,
that's where we step in. They usually have 3 inputs, so you're limited to what you can do. And so, well, with Prima though, you can go from 3 inputs to 14 inputs if you want. They can build systems like that. So if people are using Prima, I'd say, you know, get 9 stock tanks set up, and you can do a lot better with 7. Gives you more versatility to use more of the biostimulants at the right time. Because the salts will only take you so far. I don't care if you're an agronomist, what you are, salts have a ceiling. And if you want to push through this, even our cultivator series has the highest ceiling in the industry, but even that has a ceiling. And to push through, you have to come in with the biostimulants. And that's where you get the best bud in the world, is when you come in with the biostimulants. There's a lot of guys out there that grow with other people's base nutrients, but they use our biostimulants to take it a step higher. But if they use our cultivator series, they would do even better. But
I was going to say, yeah, why skip a step?
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. And what about like landrace
Yeah.
strain? What's going on over there? What do you like? What do you see? What do you?
There's going to be a demand for land races, because those are the grandfather genetics where all the genetics came from. So you want to have land races, and some of these land races have very unique cannabinoid profiles and terpene profiles.
Right. So, okay. So because I guess some people are worried that they're just falling away. I don't know why that is.
Oh no, there's people out there who've got.
Who are holding.
I know Sensi Seed has, because I saw their genetic collection. They have from all around the world. Ben Dronkers has got some of the best genetics from all over. In fact, Venezuela lost one of their hemp plants, and the seed is about twice the size of a normal cannabis seed. They're big fat seeds, and they lost it. And so Ben actually gave it back to the government of Venezuela, so it was able to return it to them.
Wow.
And Ben's not the only one who's got great libraries. There's a bunch of folks out there that really got some very, very strong libraries.
And what about the cultivation clubs in Germany? How's that shaping up?
That's interesting. You know, one of the we're doing business with is DAG, and what we've ended up doing with a couple of people is we take a piece of the action, and we make a small investment with our products to get them going and get them started. But yeah, DAG is going to build 700,000 square feet of indoor production. And so we're helping them do that as well. And they're advanced nutrients client.
Okay, so that they're just slowly building that. I mean, it's a great idea to have a club so people could have,
So back to that, yeah. So they had it worked out where they went onto a military base. They said all the clubs can come here. They can all work here, and they're all contained under one environment where it's secure. They said they didn't want to do that, so now they're all spread out everywhere. And so one of the biggest things will be the social clubs, but they're very slowly now building momentum and taking off. But people like the path of least resistance. If they can go into a gas station or convenience store or pharmacy and get their product, they're going to do it.
Right. Yeah, but the social clubs aren't really allowed there.
They are. There's
Okay.
a few social clubs being put up, and we're selling advanced nutrients to them. They're limited to 600 members per social. No, is it 600? There's 600 social clubs that they're going to build, and they limit the membership to each one of those so they don't get too big. Like in Spain, they've got some clubs that got 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 members. They won't be doing as big, and you can only grow for the people that are in your social club.
Is there anything coming out of California that you see percolating as far as that might be the next big thing?
Yeah, triploids and tetraploids by Tesoro Genetics.
All right,
I'm dead serious about that, because people's yields are going to go up another 2 pounds, and so that is substantial. Without depleting the cannabinoids or terpenes in the plant, they actually increase.
I'm going to read up more about that after.
Please do.
So I do understand this a lot more. I will definitely read about that.
You know those Driscoll berries, blackberries, it says Driscoll on it? You ever see those big ass blackberries? They're huge.
Yeah.
Those are octoploids. And Driscoll is a genetics company, not a berry company. And they say, if you want to grow our berries, you have to put our genetic name on there. And we don't care what your company's called, but you're going to put Driscoll on that label. and that's what they do. And Driscoll is actually a genetics company. And so we're currently working on octoploids. That will probably be out next year. We'll have octoploids.
I can't wait to dive into the things you talked about
Sure.
earlier. Yeah, I'll do that. And then the last two questions. What opportunities do you see for US businesses in the entering the European market or the global market?
Well, if you're going to go into the European market, the four biggest countries are Spain, Italy, France, and Germany. Those are the biggest marketplaces. So that's where it's going to happen. And it's slowly happening. Again, when it goes from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, everything opens up. But there's, Kyrgyzstan is looking at medical cannabis. We already sell products to there. Kazakhstan, we've been selling for years. Armenia is getting ready to go medical. There's a lot happening. A country of Georgia is another one that we sell a lot of product into, in the Caucasus, the old Russian Caucasus.
So basically, you could just take your choice wherever your product fits or somewhere. You can just start poking around.
You're gonna see, if you look at the way tea is produced, it's produced most of it in South Africa, and labor is cheap, land is cheap. You're going to see that happening where cannabis that has been genetically modified through gene editing, you'll see those different strains and reality happening in countries like South America and South Africa, because of the labor and land costs are a lot less. And by the way, when I was in Dubai for that show, a lady from Botswana from the government came up and said, we're interested in cannabis. So anyone listening out there, you want to go to Botswana, Botswana is very interested in medical cannabis, moving it forward.
Right. And I know they've had struggles there, because of their the different governments and,
Yes.
and tyrants and things like that.
We have a new book coming out called War Room that talks about the next generation of what you're going to need to know to be successful over the next 3 to 5 years. It's a war out there right now. Like, it really is. This is the toughest time I've ever experienced in cannabis in the 40 some years I've been involved in it.
Why?
Because there's just, one, there's a lot of misinformation out there. They're going through a learning curve, our industry is, and a lot of guys were given misinformation that wasn't accurate. And it's costing them their companies and costing them success. There's a shaking out of our industry where only the strongest, like in any industry, the strongest are going to survive. We've been here for 26 years and we're not going anywhere. We'll be here for another 26.
Oh yeah, you will be for sure. I mean, it's the money, there's a lot of different reasons. Yeah. But the last 2 years was so hard.
Well, people bought into this. Oh, we're going to give you so much shares. We'll give you a little bit of money down. You get all these shares. And I was always, people are like, what are you doing? Why aren't you involved? I go, because most of those shares are going to be worthless. So I don't know which one's the guy who's going to make it. And so that's what you're seeing now. Now you're seeing a lot of brands. Look at MedMen, went through bankruptcy, this, and it gets picked up by another brand and resurrected. You're going to see a lot of that. There are some strong brands out there that I don't know if they're going to make it or not. They owe a lot of money to a lot of people. And that's one thing I never wanted to get into. We're debt free. And I'm happy to say that, other than our accounts payable for our raws and all that stuff, but like normal business expenses.
Right.
We've taken on no money from anyone.
Well, I guess, it's going to be a lot. You're right. It's crazy. It's been
It's going to be a huge shaking out. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
And then the last question, I just wanted to hear about your philanthropic.
Oh yeah, Humanity Heroes. Well, we've been doing it for a decade now here in Los Angeles. And as a corporation, if you're successful, you should give back to the community in which you get your money from. So we helped out a lot of growers through the years directly, and then a society as a whole. And that's what Humanity Heroes is about. We go down to Skid Row and we hand out backpacks full of necessities that need to get them through either the winter or the summertime.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. No, I believe doing good and doing well, or however that saying goes.
Yeah, no, every time I go down there and do it, I feel good. It's like a jolt of dopamine. It's a feel good chemical going down there and making a difference.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
We have food programs too. We give out food and all kinds of other things as well.
That's so great. That's really great.
So,
Did I miss anything that you think I should be adding to your
no, you asked a lot of great questions. So
Okay,
I
okay,
covered all
great.
the bases.
And I'm going to definitely dive into the science that you were talking about, so I
Yeah.
really understand what I'm
Look at
writing.
tetraploids and triploids. Absolutely. Look it up.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Wow. So with
I'd like to talk about one other thing, CanMed. We're huge sponsors of CanMed over the last 10 years. Like we're their major sponsor. Why? Because we understand that science is important to cannabis. This year it's going to be in Lake Tahoe. It's going to be, I believe, June 2nd through 5th. I'm guessing at that. I should look it up.
yeah.
But I'm really excited for that. We've been a big part of that, and we're looking forward to Lake Tahoe this coming June.
Okay, I'll definitely add that. And yeah,
And by the way, there's cultivation tracks there too. There's
yeah, I've been,
cultivation tracks.
of course, right? Exactly what you're talking about. That's the future of cannabis medicine. And
Yes,
and
it
we're
is.
and we the United States is falling behind on that because Europe is often running on a medical track, and we're
Yeah.
here, we're not even doing anything when we could just be the biggest medical.
Oh yeah, we will be.
I
I
know.
think they've come to their senses. I'm hopeful. Pray
Yeah,
please
I know.
come down and sense to these guys, and let's get this plant on the path of legalization where it should have been a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that's wonderful. All right, that's a great way to end it.